It's just so human, isn't it? Wanting to know what's coming next. And whenever that topic comes up, one name just pops out. Baba Vanga, the blind Bulgarian mystic. I mean, she's really captured the world's imagination.
She really has. It's quite something how her name is just, well, the name for modern prophecy for so many people. Makes you think why certain figures become these lightning rods for our hopes about the future. And our fears, too.
Totally. So that's what we're doing in this deep dive. We're going to, explore the whole world of Baba Vanga's predictions. We'll look at some of those past events people connect to her, the ones she supposedly got right, and then really dig into the forecasts for 2025. We know you want to get up to speed quickly on fascinating stuff, and this definitely fits the bill.
Yeah, but it's super important right from the start to think about where this info actually comes from. We're basically looking at compiled stories, interpretations of things she allegedly said. There aren't any, official diaries or writings from her, so, interpretation is always part of the picture here.
That's such a key point. We need to keep that front and center. Our goal here isn't really to say, yep, this happened, or nope, didn't happen. It's more about exploring the claims, trying to figure out why they're so compelling for so many people, understand her influence, the whole phenomenon, really, while, sticking to the info we actually have. Okay, let's dive in. Those past predictions everyone talks about.
Sounds good. Where should we start? There are quite a few famous ones.
Right. Well, the big one probably has to be 9/11. That phrase, two steel birds striking America.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing that now, it's powerful, hard not to connect it.
It really is. And it's a classic case, isn't it, of how after something huge happens, a kind of vague image suddenly seems incredibly specific. We look for patterns, for explanations, especially after a tragedy, even if the connection wasn't obvious before.
Exactly. Then there's Princess Diana's death in 97. Some followers believe Vanga foresaw that too. The original prediction might be less clear, but again, it gets linked back after the event.
Yeah, you see a pattern. Major global events, things that really shake people collectively. Diana's death was definitely one of those. They seem to become magnets for these kinds of retrospective interpretations.
And moving forward a bit, the Kursk submarine disaster in 2000.
Yes.
Another tragedy, right? The sinking of that Russian sub. Some say she predicted it. Huge news story at the time.
It was devastating, heavily covered. And maybe attributing it to a prophecy offers some kind of, sense-making. Maybe it makes the randomness feel less random, if that makes sense, even if it's just a feeling it was foreseen.
Yeah, I get that. And then 2004, the Boxing Day tsunami.
Right.
Horrific.
Oh, huge.
Followers point to her warning about a large wave covering a coast. Given the scale of it, you can see why people make the link.
The sheer size of that disaster, its reach. When things like that happen, maybe we're more primed to look for any hint, any prior sign, even a general one.
Okay, what about the rise of extremist groups, like ISIS?
Right.
That's another one sometimes attributed to her. It's broader, sure, but given their global impact.
Well, predictions about general conflict or new ideologies emerging, they're interesting because they're flexible. They can potentially fit lots of different situations over time. The lack of hard specifics is what often allows those connections to be made.
That's a really good point. Okay, now this one feels a bit more specific. The claim she foresaw the 44th U.S. president being African-American.
Ah, yes. Obama.
Barack Obama, exactly. That one grabs people because it sounds so precise.
It does. The number, the racial identity, it stands out. It makes you ask, how would a detail like that get into the interpretation?
Then more recently, the idea she predicted a global pandemic around 2020.
COVID-19.
Which everyone, of course, links to COVID.
Well, the pandemic was undeniably global, hit everyone. So it's natural people would look back, search for any hint, any warning in these prophecies, even if they're open to interpretation.
And right up to this year, 2024, claims about her predicting it'd be the warmest year on record. Climate change concerns, pointing to worsening climate conditions, yeah.
And look, if the data does end up showing 2024 broke temperature records, you can bet that'll be seen as lining up with the prediction, however general the original might have been.
Interestingly, also for 2024, there are claims about medical breakthroughs.
Oh.
Yeah, in cancer and Alzheimer's treatments, supposedly fulfilling her forecasts. That's a bit more hopeful.
Absolutely. I mean, real progress there would be massive, whether it fulfills a specific prophecy, again, interpretation, right? But the deep desire for those cures definitely fuels connecting the dots.
And one last one before we look at 2025. That recent big earthquake in Myanmar.
Yes.
People are already linking it to her 2025 prediction of shattering earthquakes. Feels very immediate.
It does. It makes that connection feel very current, especially with 2025 being right here. Makes you think about, well, the probability of these things happening anyway and then getting mapped onto a prophecy.
Okay, so that's a sweep of some big past claims. Let's pivot now. 2025. What's supposedly on the horizon, according to these interpretations?
All right. Well, one of the headliners, and it's a worrying one, is a major war in Europe. The accounts talk about a, quote, devastating conflict. And, people immediately look at current tensions, the war in Ukraine, obviously, but also unrest elsewhere, like between India and Pakistan, and see potential triggers.
It's pretty grim to think about. And it really shows how we filter these predictions through our current anxieties, doesn't it?
It really does. We instinctively try to connect the dots between the forecast and what's already, simmering in the world.
Okay, what else for 2025?
Another big one. A global economic disaster.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, possibly triggered by things like inflation, supply chain problems. We're already seeing worries about.
Definitely taps into current economic fears. A lot of uncertainty out there.
It does. Predictions of financial trouble, they often reflect those existing anxieties about stability, don't they?
Then, sticking with the disaster theme for a moment, more devastating earthquakes.
Right, following on from the Myanmar mention.
It seems like seismic activity is a recurring theme.
It often is in prophecy, I think. Earthquakes are dramatic, unpredictable forces of nature. Maybe that's why they feature so prominently across different traditions.
Okay, shifting gears now. Some of these get, well, pretty far out, like human telepathy.
Telepathy, right.
The idea that by 2025, we'll be communicating directly, mind to mind. That's a leap.
It certainly is. That takes us firmly into sci-fi territory, or at least major, evolutionary or technological shifts. How would that even work? Fascinating idea.
Totally. Then there's lab-grown human organs.
Okay, that feels a bit more grounded in current science.
Right. The prediction is that the tech to grow full-scale human organs in labs will be perfected next year. The medical implications are just huge.
Massive. Bioengineering is moving fast, so this prediction, it sort of aligns with where science hopes to go. Fully working lab-grown organs, game changer.
Then there's a new source of energy.
Always hoping for that one.
Yeah. Described as powerful, clean. Some people speculate it could be nuclear fusion finally cracking it. That would solve a lot of problems.
It really would. The search for better energy is constant, driven by climate change demand. A breakthrough like that would be truly transformative.
Okay, and this one's a movie plot waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Alien contact.
Chuckles slightly. Right. The E.T. prediction.
In 2025. And supposedly, possibly at a major sporting event.
That specific detail is wild, isn't it?
It's so specific.
First contact happening during, the World Cup final or the Olympics. It had such a layer of drama. The everyday meets the absolutely extraordinary.
Definitely captures the imagination. And finally, maybe ending on a hopeful note again, a cure for cancer.
Ah, yes.
A prediction for a significant breakthrough in finding a cure in 2025. That would just be incredible.
Incredible is the word. Cancer touches almost everyone somehow. The hope for a cure is immense. A real breakthrough would change the world.
So, wow. We've gone from war and economic collapse to telepathy and aliens in just the 2025 predictions. It's quite a spread.
It really is.
But it brings us right back to that crucial point we made earlier, doesn't it, about where these predictions actually come from.
Exactly. We have to keep circling back to that. These are interpretations, stories passed down, filtered through followers. No original documents means there's always subjectivity baked in. How things are remembered, retold, connected to events.
And that whole phenomenon of fitting vague prophecies to events after they happen. Hindsight is 2020, right?
It really is. Our brains are pattern-matching machines. We want things to make sense, to connect. So a general statement made years ago can suddenly seem incredibly prescient when viewed through the lens of a specific event. It's less about deception, maybe, and more just how we process the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. So wrapping up this deep dive then, we've looked at some famous past claims linked to Baba Vanga and these really dramatic forecasts for 2025. It definitely gives you food for thought.
It absolutely does. And maybe ask yourself, which of these predictions, past or future, kind of stick with you? What makes one seem more plausible or just more interesting than another? It's a good way to reflect on your own beliefs, how you see the world, and maybe why we're also fascinated by trying to know the future.
That's a great takeaway. This whole exploration just highlights that deep, enduring human thing, doesn't it? That fascination with what's next. Figures like Baba Vanga, they really tap into that curiosity, that mix of hope and sometimes fear about what's around the corner. Definitely encourages you to keep exploring, but, with a critical eye and an open mind.